My husband went through my phone and found out what I did 16 years ago. I'll get straight into it. For some reason recently he started to think I'm messaging and meeting other men. I'm not. I've never messaged anyone since the day of our first date, and I've certainly not met anyone. I don't know where this has come from. We have each other's passcodes for our phones, but I've never once felt the need to look at his, and I don't mind him using mine. But reading my messages I do mind, as I don't think it's fair on the people I'm talking to. On to what happened. I went to the shops the other day and I left my phone at home. When I got back, my husband got in my face and called me a slag and a tramp and all sorts of other nasty names. He went through my Facebook messages and found a message from 16 years ago. At the time, I was so poor, having just lost my job and having bills to pay. I applied for hundreds of jobs and needed my car to get to interviews. It broke down. Not terribly, but it needed a new alternator. I messaged a couple of friends who were mechanics and both wanted over £100, which was a good quote, but I just couldn't afford it. I offered one of them I'd send him a couple of intimacy pictures for now and pay him when I got a job. He agreed, and within a day I was back on the road. Once I had a job, I offered to pay him and everything was fine. The mechanic is sadly unalive now, so my husband has nothing to be wary of. After he finished ranting and raving at me, I told him I'll never forgive him for looking through my phone and invading my privacy. I asked if he'd found anything else and he said no. I said, "See, how many times do I have to tell you? In fact, I'm done telling you. I picked a few things, and I left for my sister's, where I still am now. Is what I did 10 years before I met him really that bad? I'm starting to think he's projecting with all these accusations constantly, and now I'm starting to doubt him. Once trust has been broken like this, can it be repaired? Update. Like many of you suggested, he was projecting and he's the one who's cheating. I left for my sister's for a few days when I wrote that post. Driving past a Premier Inn near her house, and saw his car outside, waited by it for 3 hours, where he eventually emerged with another woman. He said it was the first time and he thought we'd split up. She said to him, "What are you talking about and who is this?" Referring to me. He literally ran off like a coward. I spoke to this woman who turned out to be lovely, and she said they'd been seeing each other for over a year, but he told her he was living with his religious parents after leaving his wife, so that's why they can never go back to his, and got hotels. She was such a lovely young woman, and I ended up having to console her and took her home myself. As for us, I'm back at home, and he is now back at his parents, who were very disappointed in him when they heard the news and have been lovely to me. I've started divorce proceedings, but that'll be about a year away, I'd imagine. Commenter. The irony of him telling her he was living with his parents and getting divorced, self-fulfilling prophecy that, oop, yeah, I love it, lol.